The Galactic Council Chamber was the largest hall in the known galaxy. It was built from black stone mined from a dead moon, and the roof curved high above like the inside of a giant shell. Tall windows allowed streams of pale light from the nearby star to shine on the circular table where the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat. Representatives from hundreds of species were present. There were towering reptilians in silver robes, floating jellyfish-like beings that spoke in soft pulses of light, and insectoid diplomats with shining carapaces. At the very center sat Zorthel, the High Chancellor of the Galactic Empire. He was a tall insectoid with 6 sharp legs and long, curved antennae that twitched when he was amused. On this day, the topic was an unusual one. A small blue planet, located on the edge of the Orion Arm, had sent an official request to join the Empire. That planet's name was Earth. Zorthel leaned back in his seat, tapping the tips of his claws against the polished table. "Humans," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. "They are a young species, barely crawling out of their gravity well. They think because they can send ships into space, they are ready to join our great union. This is foolish." Some of the council members chuckled in agreement. Others looked at their data screens. The human dossier was thin, showing only a short history of spaceflight, a handful of colonies on nearby moons, and small-scale trade with minor alien groups. Ambassador Corps, a large reptilian with deep green scales, spoke next. "Their ships are slow compared to ours. Their weapons are outdated. Their fleets are tiny. If we let them join, they will only slow us down. They cannot contribute anything to the Empire's strength." A few voices in the chamber tried to defend the humans. A scholar from the Jellari race raised her tentacles. "Their technology grows at an unusual rate. I have seen reports that they adapt faster than most species." "Perhaps enough," Zorthel interrupted. "The Council must decide. Are we to waste resources on this insignificant species, or do we focus on greater matters?" The vote began. Holographic symbols lit up above each representative as they made their decision. One by one, the votes came in. Out of the hundreds present, only 6 voted in favor of Earth's admission. The rest voted against. The result was clear. Zorthel's antennae twitched again as he announced, "The request from Earth is denied. Let it be recorded that humans are not fit to stand among the great species of the galaxy." Far away, in the quiet command room of Luna 1, humanity's first permanent moon base, the message arrived. The room was lit by soft blue panels, and a single large screen showed the seal of the Galactic Empire. Captain Maria Gray stood at the center of the room, her hands behind her back. She was a tall woman with short dark hair, her face calm but her eyes sharp. Around her, technicians read the message aloud in low voices. "The Empire rejects Earth's application," one of the officers said. "They call us insignificant. They say we lack the power to contribute." There was a tense silence. Some officers muttered in frustration. Others lowered their heads. One young engineer slammed a hand against the table. "They do not even know us. They have never fought beside us. How can they decide we are worthless?" Maria did not raise her voice, but everyone in the room heard her clearly. "They can decide whatever they want. Words do not decide what we are. Actions do." Her second in command, a calm man named Daniel Holt, stepped closer. "What will we do now?" "We will keep building," Maria said. "We will keep exploring. We will keep pushing until the galaxy sees us for what we are." Daniel frowned slightly. "You mean to try again?" Maria's lips curved into the smallest of smiles. "I do not mean to try. I mean to make them regret ever doubting us." Later that night, Maria stood alone on the observation deck. The moon's surface stretched out before her like a silver desert. Above, Earth shone like a blue jewel. She thought about the countless people working back home, scientists, engineers, pilots, and miners. She thought about the children who dreamed of walking on alien worlds one day. The Empire might have dismissed them, but she knew humanity's story was only beginning. History had shown again and again that humans thrive under pressure. Every time they were told they could not do something, they found a way to do it anyway. She placed her hand on the glass. "They will see," she whispered. "One day, they will ask for our help. And when that day comes, we will be ready on the other side of the galaxy. Zorthel finished the council session and left the grand chamber. As he walked down the polished hall, a young aide followed him. Sir, the aide said, do you think ignoring the humans was wise? They have shown some unusual developments for a young species. Zorthel gave a clicking laugh. The galaxy is full of unusual developments. Most fade away before they become threats. Humans will be the same. Let them play with their tiny ships and their fragile colonies. They will never trouble the Empire. He did not see the faint warning signal flashing on his aide's datapad. A report from an Imperial patrol ship that had encountered a human vessel near the asteroid belt and found it strangely resistant to standard scans. The report would be buried in routine files, forgotten by most, until the day it mattered. Back on Luna 1, Maria called a meeting with her top officers. The walls of the briefing room were lined with star maps, showing hundreds of unexplored systems. We have our answer from the Empire, Maria began. They think we are small, weak, forgettable. I say we show them the opposite. One officer, a young pilot named Lewis, leaned forward. What is the plan? First, Maria said. Pointing to a cluster of uncharted systems, we will expand our exploration fleet. We will chart routes no one else dares to enter. Second, we will upgrade our defenses. They think our ships are slow, let us make them faster. They think our weapons are outdated, let us make them sharper. And third, we will not seek their approval again. The next time they speak to us, it will not be to judge us, it will be to ask for our aid. The officers nodded one by one. Determination spread through the room like a quiet fire outside the moon base. Human ships lifted off, their engines glowing against the dark sky. They were small compared to the massive cruisers of the Galactic Empire, but each carried crews who refused to be overlooked out in the depths of space, unseen by most. The first pieces of humanity's answer to the Empire's insult were already in motion. The asteroid field stretched across the blackness of space like a frozen river. Countless chunks of rock drifted slowly, some the size of small houses, others larger than cities. In the middle of this silent maze moved a single human vessel. The horizon's light, Commander Alex Rivers stood on the bridge, hands resting on the edge of the navigation console. He was a calm man with short brown hair and the steady focus of someone who had spent half his life in space. Around him, the crew worked in silence, scanning the nearby asteroids for traces of valuable metals. Commander, the sensor officer called, we are picking up movement at the far edge of the field. Multiple signatures, large ships, Alex. Lean forward. Identification. The officer's fingers flew over the controls. Not human. The energy readings match Imperial patrol vessels. A quiet tension filled the bridge. The Galactic Empire rarely came this close to human-claimed space, and when they did, it was usually for official inspection or to chase off smugglers. Alex knew the Empire had little respect for humanity, especially after the Council's rejection of Earth's request. Within minutes, 3 massive ships emerged from behind an asteroid cluster. They were shaped like long black blades, their hulls lined with glowing red panels. The largest of the 3 moved forward, and a deep, commanding voice came through the comm system. This is Captain Ralvik of the Imperial Patrol Fleet. You are trespassing in a protected resource zone. Identify yourselves and prepare to leave. Immediately, Alex stood tall, his voice steady. This is Commander Alex Rivers of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon's Light. We are conducting mineral scans on an unclaimed asteroid sector. No Imperial claim markers were found here. The alien captain's tone turned sharp. All resources within 50 light minutes of Imperial territory fall under our protection. You will withdraw. Alex glanced at the navigation chart. Captain Ralvik, with respect, your claim is not listed in the Council records. This field lies outside official Imperial borders. We have every right to be here. On the comm screen, Ralvik's scaled face twisted in irritation. Humans, he said, always trying to act like you matter in galactic affairs. Your place is on your little planet, not among real starfarers. The words hit like a direct strike, but Alex kept his voice calm. We are not leaving, Captain. We will complete our scans and depart on our own schedule. Ralvik gave a cold smile. Perhaps you need a demonstration of why you should obey. He gave a sharp order, and one of the smaller patrol ships moved forward, aiming its main gun. At the horizon's light, a warning shot streaked past the human vessel, exploding against a nearby asteroid. The crew braced themselves, but the ship's shields held firm. Alex turned to his tactical officer. "Status? No damage," she reported. "Shields at full strength." Ralvik's eyes widened slightly on the screen. "Interesting. Your shields are stronger than expected for a vessel of that size. Still, they will not hold against a full barrage." Alex didn't flinch. "That would be an act of aggression against a peaceful exploration mission. The Council might want to hear about that." Ralvik gave a short laugh. "The Council does not care about humans. But you are right about one thing: your shields are unusual. Perhaps I should take your ship for study." Without warning, the two smaller patrol ships began to move in a flanking pattern. The crew of the Horizon's Light reacted quickly, engines powering up and defensive systems going online. "Evasive pattern Delta 3, Alex ordered. The ship turned sharply, slipping between two spinning asteroids. The Imperial vessels followed, their heavy frames forcing them to take wider turns. The asteroid field became a maze, and Alex used it to his advantage. He guided the Horizons Light through narrow gaps and around tumbling rocks, forcing the larger Imperial ships to slow. Every move was precise, every turn calculated to keep them just out of firing range. In the tactical room, a junior officer whispered, "They can't match our maneuvering." Alex kept his eyes on the path ahead. Small ships have their uses. The Imperial ships tried to cut them off, but each time, the Horizon's Light darted away, using its advanced thrusters to change direction instantly. Frustrated, "Captain." Ralvik ordered another warning shot, but the asteroid it struck exploded into hundreds of fragments, creating a dense debris cloud that further slowed his pursuit. After 20 tense minutes, the Horizon's Light cleared the far side of the asteroid field. The Imperial ship stopped at the edge, unwilling to follow into open space without backup. Ralvik's voice returned over the comm, low and cold. "You are lucky today, human, but luck runs out. The next time we meet, your ship will not escape." Alex replied without hesitation, "We do not rely on luck, Captain. We rely on skill." The channel closed, and the Imperial ships turned away, disappearing into the shadow of the asteroid belt. On the Horizon's Light, the crew slowly relaxed, but Alex remained thoughtful. He knew the Empire would report this incident to their superiors, and he suspected the strange strength of their shields would draw attention. In the engineering bay, Chief Engineer Mara Chen ran her hands over the glowing shield generator. "They barely scratched us," she said proudly. "The new composite field is working better than I hoped." Alex joined her. "Good work, Mara. Keep improving it. Something tells me we will need it again soon." Back on the Imperial flagship, Ralvik recorded his report. He described the human ship's surprising agility, its unusually strong shields, and its commander's refusal to obey Imperial orders. The report was sent through official channels, but most in the upper ranks dismissed it as unimportant. However, one intelligence officer marked it for further review. Something about the humans did not fit the usual pattern of weak, inexperienced species. The Horizon's Light resumed its mission, scanning the last of the asteroids before setting course for a small refueling station. The crew felt a mix of pride and unease. They had stood their ground against the Empire and survived, but they knew this was only the beginning. In his private log, Alex wrote, "The Empire still sees us as insignificant, but today we showed them we will not be pushed aside. If they come again, we will be ready." Far across space, Maria Gray read the same incident report aboard Luna 1. She smiled faintly, recognizing Alex's steady defiance in every word. "Good," she murmured. "Let them see who they are dealing with." The first encounter between humanity and the Empire's patrol fleet was over, but the ripples it caused were already spreading. And somewhere in the shadows of the galaxy, the seeds of a much larger conflict had been planted. The mining colony of Varan 6 floated in the shadow of a cold, pale star. Its surface was a maze of metal platforms, drilling towers, and cargo bays, all connected by narrow walkways. Most of the colonists were workers from several alien races, contracted under the Galactic Empire to extract rare metals from the planet's crust. Life here was harsh but steady until the day the raiders came. It started with an alarm echoing across the colony's central tower. Sirens wailed, and the sky filled with the dark shapes of incoming ships. The local defense grid tried to activate, but several key systems failed at once. Someone had sabotaged them. Colony Overseer Lurvin, a short amphibian with wide silver eyes, shouted into the comm. We have multiple unidentified vessels entering low orbit. All workers take shelter. I repeat, take shelter. Through the haze of the dusty atmosphere, the raider ships appeared sleek, dark, and armed with heavy cannons. They fired warning shots into the air, sending workers scrambling for cover. The colony's few security drones were destroyed in seconds. The Imperial fleet that normally patrolled nearby space was too far away to help, at best. They would arrive in 2 weeks. The raiders knew this, which was why they had chosen this moment to strike. Lurvin activated the emergency beacon, broadcasting a distress call to anyone within range. He did not expect a reply so soon. This is Captain Maria Gray of the Earth. Vessel Resolute, we have received your distress signal and are on approach. Estimated arrival, 23 minutes. The Overseer blinked in surprise. Humans? The Empire had dismissed them as a minor species. How could they possibly help? But with no other options, he replied quickly, we are under heavy attack. Defenses are down. If you can assist, we will accept any aid you can offer. In the black void of space, the Resolute and smaller escort ships burned toward Varan 6 at full speed. On the bridge, Maria studied the tactical display. 3 main raider vessels in low orbit, plus smaller landing craft heading for the colony. Her tactical officer reported. Understood, Maria said. We will split. The escorts will handle the landing craft. The Resolute will deal with the main ships. Use the asteroids around the planet as cover until we are close enough to strike. The crew moved quickly, preparing weapons and shields. The Resolute was smaller than the Raider flagships, but it had been upgraded with fast thrusters, reinforced armor, and precision or AILGUNS. As they approached, the Raider ships detected them and shifted position. The largest of them sent a message. Unknown vessels, withdraw immediately. This is none of your concern. Maria replied without hesitation. The safety of civilians is always our concern. You have one chance to leave. Take it. The Raider captain laughed, a deep, mocking sound. Humans, the Empire must be truly desperate if they sent you. Maria didn't respond. She gave the order to fire. The Resolute's railguns launched a rapid burst of slugs, striking the lead Raider ship's forward shields. Sparks flew across its hull. The Raiders returned fire, but Maria's pilot swung the ship into a tight roll, slipping between 2 drifting asteroids. The enemy blast hit empty space. The escort ships dove toward the colony, intercepting the landing craft. Their smaller size allowed them to weave between the colony towers, targeting Raider engines with precision shots. 2 of the landing craft were disabled before they touched down in orbit. Maria pushed the Resolute closer to the largest Raider ship, locked missiles on their aft engines. She ordered. A bright streak of light cut through the darkness as the missiles launched. They struck the Raider's engine housing, sending it spinning out of formation. The other 2 ships moved to protect their leader, but this left a gap. Bring us through, Maria said. The Resolute surged forward, sliding into the opening and releasing a full broadside on the second Raider ship. The concentrated fire tore through its shields and shredded its port side. The ship began to drift, systems failing. Meanwhile, on the surface, the colony workers watched in shock as the human escorts fought with unmatched precision. The Raiders, expecting an easy victory, were losing control of the battle. In the control tower, Lurvin turned to his staff. Who are these humans? He asked. They fight like they have done this 100 times. By the time the largest Raider regained stability, The third ship had already taken heavy damage, with two of their vessels nearly disabled and their landing operation in ruins. The raiders sent a final transmission. "We will remember this, human. You have made dangerous enemies." Maria's voice was calm. "Then you will know what to expect if you return." The raiders jumped to faster-than-light speed, disappearing into the black. The colony's workers slowly emerged from shelters, looking up at the sky where the human ship still hovered. Moments later, Maria landed the Resolute on the main platform. She stepped out in full uniform, greeted by Overseer Lurvin and a small group of exhausted security officers. "You saved us," Lurvin said, his voice still filled with disbelief. "We expected no help for weeks." Maria gave a short nod. "We were in the sector and caught your signal. Your people fought well to hold the line until we arrived." One of the alien miners stepped forward. "The Empire says humans are weak." "That is not what I saw today." Maria allowed herself a faint smile. "We preferred to let actions speak for us for the next 2 days." The humans stayed to help repair the colony's defenses. Their engineers worked alongside alien technicians, sharing techniques that were faster and more efficient than the colony's standard methods. The Overseer noticed how quickly the humans adapted to unfamiliar equipment, learning in hours what usually took days. When the Imperial fleet finally arrived, the raiders were long gone, and the colony was operating at full strength again. The Imperial commander was surprised to see the human ships docked there. Even more surprised when he heard what had happened. "You drove them off with only 3 ships." The commander asked Maria. "Yes," she replied simply. The commander said nothing more, but his eyes narrowed in thought. He would have to include this in his report. When Maria and her crew departed, the colony workers gathered to watch their ships lift into the sky. The humans left no grand speeches, no demands for reward, only the quiet satisfaction of a mission completed. But word of what had happened spread quickly through nearby systems. Stories of how a small human force had saved an Imperial colony without losing a single life began to circulate. Some dismissed it as exaggeration, but others began to wonder if perhaps the Empire had underestimated this young species. And far away, in the great halls of the Empire's capital, a few council members began to take notice. The Imperial Science Station Helios 7 floated in a quiet sector near the edge of a dying star. From a distance, it looked like a silver wheel spinning slowly against the deep black. It was one of the Empire's most important research facilities, studying rare energy particles emitted during the star's collapse. The information gathered here could power entire cities for decades, for months. The work had gone smoothly, until a series of strange readings appeared on the station's sensors. Dr. Varen, the chief scientist, stood before the holographic display, frowning at the shifting patterns. "The star's instability is increasing," she said. "These waves are stronger than expected. If they intensify, the station's shielding will fail." Her assistant, a thin reptilian named Veth, hesitated. "Should we evacuate?" Varen shook her head. "Evacuation is possible only if we have 3 days' notice. At this rate, we might have less than 12 hours. The Imperial fleet is too far to reach us in time." When the first wave hit, the station shuddered. Lights flickered, and several systems went offline. A low hum filled the corridors as emergency shields activated. But everyone knew those shields were not designed for storms of this magnitude. Varen sent a priority distress signal, though she doubted anyone would arrive before it was too late. She did not expect the reply that came less than 2 minutes later. "This is Commander Alex Rivers of the Earth vessel Horizon's Light. We have received your signal and are on approach. Distance, for ours. We request permission to assist." Varen blinked at the comm screen. "Humans, how can they help with a storm like this?" "We have experimental warp stabilizers," Alex replied. "If we can anchor them to your station's framework, they may absorb the worst of the energy waves." The idea sounded impossible, but with the storm growing by the minute, Varen had no reason to refuse. "Permission granted. You will need to work fast." For hours later, the Horizon's Light dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Helios 7. The storm was visible even to the naked eye, swirling halo of red and gold light twisting around the dying star, sending out arcs of energy like lightning across the void. "Shields up," Alex ordered. The ship vibrated as the first small wave struck. "Engineering, prepare the stabilizers. We will need them deployed within the next 30 minutes. Chief Engineer Mara Chen's voice came through. "They're ready, but attaching them to the station's outer frame in this storm will be dangerous." Alex gave a short nod. "We have no choice." The horizon's light moved into position alongside the station. Through the viewport, Alex could see the pale faces of the scientists watching from inside. Maria Gray, now commanding the support vessel Resolute, arrived minutes later with 2 smaller ships carrying additional equipment. "We'll handle them." "Anchor lines," she said over comms. "Your team focuses on the stabilizer core." The human crews worked quickly, launching drones to carry the stabilizer modules to key points on the station's frame. Every movement had to be timed perfectly, avoiding the violent arcs of energy that lashed out from the storm dot inside Helios 7. Varen monitored the readings. The stabilizers are absorbing some of the wave impact, but the next surge will be stronger. "If your equipment fails, we lose everything." Alex's voice was calm. "It won't fail. Prepare for the surge." The second wave hit harder, slamming against both the station and the human ships. Shields strained, alarms blared, and one of the stabilizer modules nearly broke loose before a drone ray-secured it. Mara shouted into the comm. "Anchor lines holding, stabilizers still active." Maria's ship swung into position on the far side of the station, firing small bursts from its maneuvering thrusters to keep debris from striking the delicate framework. "We've cleared the largest fragments," she reported. As the storm intensified, the humans began adjusting the stabilizer's frequency. Mara explained quickly to Varen, "We are sensing them with the energy pulse. If we match the timing, the stabilizers will absorb twice as much force." The next surge came, and this time, the station held steady. The lights stopped flickering. Varen stared at the readings, her silver eyes wide. "It's working. You are actually holding back the wavefront." But the storm was not done. A massive flare erupted from the star, larger than any they had recorded before. It raced toward the station like a burning tide. "Brace for impact," Alex called. "Mara, full power to the stabilizers." The flare struck, and for a moment it felt like the entire sector was shaking. Shields dropped to critical levels, and one of the escort ships had to retreat. But the stabilizers held. Slowly, the flare's energy dissipated into harmless ripples, leaving the station intact for hours. The humans maintained their position, countering every surge until the storm began to fade. By the time the star settled into a calmer phase, Helios 7 was still operational, and every member of its crew was alive. When the danger passed, Varen contacted Alex and Maria on the comm. "You have saved years of work and the lives of everyone here. I admit, I doubted you when you first arrived, but now I see why the Raiders could not defeat you." Alex gave a small smile. "We just do what we can. No one should be left to face danger alone." Word of the rescue traveled fast. Imperial scientists spoke highly of the humans' quick thinking and unusual technology. Several even submitted formal requests to study Earth's engineering methods. In the capital, Zorthal read the report with a frown. "Warp stabilizers, humans should not be able to develop such devices. That technology is still experimental for most of the Empire." An advisor shifted uncomfortably. "Perhaps we underestimated their adaptability." Zorthal set the report aside. "One success does not change their status, but we will keep watching." Back on Luna 1, Maria and Alex met in the strategy room. "3 times now we've crossed paths with the Empire," Maria said. "3 times we've left an impression." Alex nodded. "They may not admit it yet, but their opinion is changing. We just have to keep showing them what we can do." Outside the station windows, Earth's ships prepared for their next mission. The galaxy was beginning to take notice, and the humans had no intention of slowing down. The Imperial capital world, Selva's Prime, was alive with celebration. The Grand Festival of Unity had begun, an annual event where the Galactic Empire displayed its strength and history. The streets of the capital city glow with banners and lights. Massive holo screens floated above the plazas, broadcasting speeches from the council chamber. Inside the chamber, High Chancellor Zorthel stood before the assembly. His sharp legs clicked against the polished floor as he moved to the center platform. Representatives from across the empire watched in silence, waiting for his words. This year, Zorthel began, we honor the great species who have carried the empire to glory. We honor those who built its power, defended its borders, and expanded its reach. And we remind ourselves of those who will never stand among us, the weak, the unworthy, the insignificant. Several delegates looked curious. Zorthel's antennae twitched as he continued. One such example is a small race from a forgotten world called Earth. They asked to join us, claiming they could contribute to our greatness. We rejected them, as was proper, and yet they keep appearing in places they do not belong. They meddle in matters far beyond their capacity. A low laugh rolled through the chamber. The holoscreen showed brief clips, grainy footage of human ships, taken from Imperial patrol logs. Zorthel let the images linger for a moment before speaking again. They saved a few colonies, yes, and they tinkered with some technology. But these are sparks in the dark, nothing more. In time, they will fade, and the galaxy will forget them. The speech was broadcast across the Empire, even to the distant colonies on the fringe. On Luna 1, Maria Gray watched the recording with her senior officers. No one spoke for several seconds after it ended. They made us a public joke, Daniel Holt said, his voice tight. They think the more they mock us, the smaller we will feel, Maria said, her tone calm. They are wrong. It is time we show them something they cannot laugh at. Across the table, Commander Alex Rivers leaned forward. You have something in mind. Yes, Maria replied. We will unveil the Pioneer Fleet. The officers exchanged glances. The Pioneer Fleet was humanity's most ambitious project, a group of advanced exploration ships, built in secret at deep space yards. Each was equipped with new hybrid technology combining human designs with elements adapted from alien systems. They could travel faster, scan deeper, and survive in regions other ships would not dare enter. Maria opened a star map, highlighting a dense cluster of unexplored systems far beyond the Empire's usual routes. We will chart the Nakara expanse. No ship from the Empire has ever mapped it. The route is considered too dangerous, filled with gravitational storms and unstable warp corridors. If we succeed, we will have a hyperspace network no one else controls. That would give us unmatched trade routes, Alex said, and more than that, Maria added, it will show the galaxy that we go where the Empire will not within days. The Pioneer Fleet departed. The flagship, Endeavor, led the way, followed by 6 other ships of varying sizes. Each crew was hand-picked explorers, engineers, scientists, and pilots who thrived under pressure. The Nakara expanse was as dangerous as the reports claimed. The first warp corridor they entered twisted violently, threatening to tear the ships apart. The hybrid drives, however, adjusted in real time, bending the corridor's path and holding it stable. The crew cheered as they emerged into a region of space no human had ever seen. They found drifting crystal structures the size of mountains, glowing with inner light. They mapped asteroid belts rich in rare metals and discovered habitable moons orbiting gas giants. At one point, the fleet passed through the tail of a massive comet, its frozen surface shimmering blue against the darkness. The most difficult section came halfway through the journey, a chaotic region where 3 gravitational wells intersected. Imperial ships had always turned back here. The Endeavor's navigation AI plotted a narrow path, and the fleet threaded through the turbulence like a needle through cloth. News of the mission spread before they even returned. Merchant guilds began whispering about the possibility of new routes. Scientists were eager to study the Nakara systems. Even some Imperial officers admitted in private that the humans had achieved what the Empire had never attempted. When the Pioneer Fleet finally returned to Luna 1, Maria sent a transmission to the Galactic Council. Her message was simple. This is the Endeavor of Earth. The Nakara expanse is mapped. A hyperspace route is available to any who can match our speed and endurance. We leave it open for peaceful use. Consider this our contribution to the galaxy." The statement caused a stir. Trade representatives on Silver's Prime began pressuring the Council to work with Earth. The new route could cut travel times to several distant sectors by half, giving a massive advantage to anyone who used it. In the Council chamber, Zorthel tried to downplay the news. "Mapping a few systems does not make them our equals," he said. But even as he spoke, several delegates were studying the data from the Nakar route with clear interest. On Luna 1, Maria and Alex watched the first Imperial freighters use the new route. "They'll never admit it publicly," Alex said, "but they need what we've built. That's fine." Maria replied, "The more they use it, the more they realize we're not going away." The insult had been broadcast across the galaxy, but now so had the answer. The Empire had tried to turn humanity into a joke, yet in doing so, they had given them the perfect stage to prove themselves, and this time, the whole galaxy had seen it happen. The galaxy had never been completely peaceful. Beyond the known borders, dangers lurked in deep space, ancient threats few had ever seen, but nothing compared to the Verthic swarm. The first reports came from the outer colonies. Entire worlds were disappearing. Observers reported massive fleets of insectoid ships, sleek and black, moving with terrifying coordination. Each system they entered was stripped of resources, and any resistance was crushed. The Empire mobilized its fleets, but the swarm was faster and more ruthless than anything they had faced before. Several large cruisers were destroyed in the first encounters, and the Council realized that conventional strategies would fail. In Silver's Prime, High Chancellor Zorthel stood before the assembly. His antennae twitched with frustration. "We have underestimated this threat," he admitted. "Our fleets are losing. Millions of lives are at risk. The Empire is on the brink of disaster." A voice rose from the back of the chamber. "There is one group that has consistently exceeded our expectations," said a senior strategist. "Humans. Their ships, their technology, their strategies, they have proven effective against difficult challenges. Perhaps we should request their assistance." Zorthel's mandibles clicked sharply. "Humans? The same species we called insignificant. You suggest we rely on them to save the Empire?" "Yes," the strategist said firmly. "If they are willing, they could be the difference between survival and annihilation." After hours of debate, the Council sent a formal request to Earth. The message was clear: assist us in defending the Empire or witness its collapse. Maria Gray received the transmission aboard Luna 1. She read it carefully, her face calm but thoughtful. Around her, officers and engineers waited silently. "They finally understand," Daniel Holt said. "They need us." Maria's gaze did not waver. "Yes, and we will help, but on our terms. No demands for obedience, no attempts to claim credit. Humanity will fight because it is the right thing to do, not because they ask." Alex Rivers nodded. "Agreed. We deploy immediately." "Yes, prepare the fleet," Maria said. "The swarm will not wait." The human fleet launched with precision, the Resolute, the Endeavor, and dozens of smaller vessels moved toward the frontier systems. Each ship carried advanced hybrid technology, shields capable of withstanding intense energy strikes, and crews trained to act decisively in chaos. When they arrived, the scale of the swarm's attack was clear. Dozens of Imperial colonies were under siege. Swarm ships moved in perfect formation, overwhelming conventional defenses. Explosions lit the dark space as entire fleets vanished within minutes. Maria and Alex quickly assessed the situation. "We must split into 3 wings," Maria said. "One to protect the colonies, one to engage the swarm directly, and one to cut off their supply lines. We need to disrupt their coordination before it's too late." The human fleet moved like a single organism. Smaller ships darted between swarm vessels, drawing fire and exploiting openings. The larger human ships unleashed precise volleys, disabling engines and weapons on key enemy ships. Alex took the lead in the central wing, moving the Horizon's light into the thick of the battle. The swarm underestimated humans again, assuming smaller vessels would fall easily each time they attacked. Humans countered with innovative maneuvers. One crew used debris from destroyed asteroids to create a moving shield. blocking energy beams from multiple swarm ships. Another deployed drone swarms that disabled the enemy's targeting systems on the colonies. Maria coordinated defensive operations. Using real-time calculations, she positioned shield generators, guided reinforcements, and ensured civilians remained safe. Her calm leadership allowed Imperial forces to regroup and fight with renewed confidence. Several hours into the battle, the swarm's flagship emerged. It was larger than anything Maria had seen, covered in black chitin with hundreds of glowing energy nodes. Its approach caused nearby swarm ships to align in perfect formation. Focus all firepower on the flagship, Maria ordered. We need to break their command. The fleet obeyed. Human ships struck with concentrated energy volleys, while Imperial vessels followed their lead. The flagship responded with devastating attacks, destroying several human ships in the first minutes. But the humans adapted. They used coordinated maneuvers, alternating shield pulses and evasive patterns, slowly wearing down the enemy. Alex spotted a weak point near the flagship's rear engines. We can disable it there, he said. It may not destroy the ship, but it will break their formation. He led a small strike team through a chaotic battlefield, weaving between explosions and debris. Mara Chen's engineering team remotely controlled specialized drones, allowing the strike to hit with perfect timing. A concentrated blast hit the engine core, sending the flagship spiraling out of control. Without its flagship, the swarm lost coordination. Human and Imperial forces took advantage. Striking with precision, swarm ships began to retreat, breaking formation as fear and confusion spread. By the end of the battle, thousands of swarm vessels had been destroyed or disabled. Several colonies were damaged, but no lives were lost thanks to human strategy and rapid evacuation plans. After the conflict, Imperial commanders met with the human delegation. Zorthel entered the room, his usual arrogance tempered by exhaustion. He looked at Maria Gray and Alex Rivers. You have proven yourselves, he said slowly. Against the swarm, humans were more than capable. The Empire owes you its survival. Maria responded calmly. We did what was necessary. Humanity fights to protect life, not for titles or recognition. We will continue to do so, but we do not seek dominance over others. Zorthel's mandibles clicked softly. I underestimated your species. The Council will have to reconsider our position on Earth, Alex added. We hope you learn that strength is more than numbers or age, courage, ingenuity, and unity are what make a species formidable. Word of the human-led victory spread across the galaxy. For the first time, many species began to respect humanity not for the size of their fleets, but for their resourcefulness and bravery. The Empire could no longer dismiss them as insignificant. On Luna 1, Maria looked out at Earth's blue glow. Alex joined her. Do you think the Empire will ever truly respect us? He asked. Maria shook her head slightly. Respect must be earned. We have earned some, but it is not theirs to give. What matters is that humanity has shown it can face any threat and protect the galaxy when it counts. As the stars shone quietly beyond the observation deck, humans prepared for their next mission. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of what they could achieve, and both allies and rivals would never forget it. The final test had come, and humanity had passed. The galaxy had changed. Word of humanity's actions spread like wildfire, carried by traders, explorers, and Imperial communications alike. Once dismissed as insignificant, humans were now seen as a species that could not be ignored. Back on Silverus Prime, the Imperial Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the chamber, their voices a mixture of awe and concern. The chair of the council, High Chancellor Zorthel, adjusted his robes and addressed the assembly. We underestimated humanity, he admitted. Time and again, they have proven that our assumptions were wrong. They have saved Imperial colonies, defended our research stations, and now they have repelled the Verthic swarm where our fleets failed. The evidence is undeniable. They are not insignificant. Several delegates murmured in agreement, though some remained reluctant. Pride was difficult to overcome, even in the face of clear results from Luna 1. Maria Gray and Alex Rivers monitored the session via secure link. Maria's expression was calm but satisfied. Finally, they have acknowledged the truth, she said. Not fully, but enough to stop dismissing us, Alex nodded. It's not respect yet, but it is recognition. That is enough for now. On Earth, celebrations had begun. Humans had endured prejudice, doubt, and mockery, but their courage and ingenuity had changed minds across the galaxy. Citizens looked up at the stars with pride, knowing their species had stepped forward when others faltered. The human fleet returned from the frontier systems, greeted by cheering crowds and grateful leaders from several worlds. The Pioneer fleet and battle-ready vessels docked safely at Luna 1. Their crews exhausted but triumphant in a large briefing room. Maria addressed the assembled officers and crew. This is not the end of our journey, she said. The galaxy has begun to see what humanity can do, but there will be other challenges ahead. Every decision we make, every mission we undertake, will shape how others view us. We must continue to act with courage, intelligence, and honor. Alex stepped forward. We have proven that we can face impossible odds. We have shown that unity and creativity are more powerful than arrogance or sheer numbers. Remember this lesson for every mission ahead. The officers nodded, inspired by their leader's words. They had faced the swarm, navigated deadly storms, and held their ground against a dismissive empire. They knew the galaxy had changed, and they had been at the center of it, across the empire. The Council's records were updated to reflect humanity's achievements. Reports detailed the defense of Varan 6, the stabilization of Helios 7, the mapping of the Nakara expanse, and the victory over the Verthic swarm. Each entry emphasized human innovation, bravery, and leadership. Some council members still struggled with pride, but they could no longer deny the facts. One delegate admitted quietly to his neighbor, "Perhaps we judged them too quickly. Their species is unlike any we have encountered before." In the days that followed, a few smaller imperial sectors requested official alliances with human colonies. Trade agreements, scientific collaborations, and defense partnerships began to take shape. Humanity's influence grew not through conquest or force, but through reliability, skill, and moral courage. Meanwhile, in Luna 1's training and research centers, human engineers and scientists worked tirelessly to improve ships, shields, and weapons systems. The lessons learned from past encounters were applied to new technologies, ensuring that humanity could meet future threats without hesitation. Maria and Alex often walked the observation decks together, watching the stars. Alex broke the silence. "Do you think the Empire will ever truly respect us?" Maria considered the question. "Respect is earned, and we have begun to earn it. Not everyone will give it willingly, and some will never admit it, but actions speak louder than words. They have seen what we can do. That is enough for now." Alex nodded. "And we will keep proving it." The human fleets were no longer just exploration vessels or patrol ships. They had become symbols of resilience and hope. Civilizations across the galaxy began to look to humanity as a force capable of defending the weak, charting the unknown, and standing against threats that others feared to face. Even some imperial leaders who had once mocked humans began to quietly seek their guidance. Reports were requested, engineers consulted, and fleet strategies reviewed with human input. What had started as disbelief and dismissal had transformed into cautious admiration. On the surface of Luna 1, a statue was unveiled in honor of the human explorers who had first challenged the Empire's assumptions. It depicted a human captain standing proudly, hand on the rail of a starship, eyes fixed on the horizon. Children and adults alike gathered to see it, inspired to learn, explore, and dream. Maria and Alex stood before the statue, silently acknowledging their journey. They had faced ridicule, danger, and impossible odds. Humanity had not only survived, but had grown stronger and more respected in the process. This is only the beginning. Maria said softly, "There will always be new threats, new challenges, and new opportunities. Humanity will face them all." Alex placed a hand on her shoulder. "And we will face them together, as a species that will no longer be underestimated, far beyond. Luna 1, the stars shimmered with infinite possibilities. Humanity had proven that courage, intelligence, and unity could overcome doubt and danger. The Galactic Empire had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans were not insignificant. They were formidable, innovative, and unstoppable when they chose to stand across the galaxy. Whispers of humanity's deeds spread. Some feared them, some admired them, and some sought to follow in their example. The reputation of humanity was no longer built on assumptions or mockery, it was forged in action, courage, and the undeniable truth of their achievements, and in that vast expanse of space. Humanity's story continued, ready to face whatever came next, certain that they had earned their place among the stars and the respect of all who dwelled within them. The Empire had called them insignificant, but humanity had proven that their potential was limitless. The galaxy had seen their worth, and no one would ever doubt it again.